Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to be able to speak today in front of this rostrum as a keynote speaker. A special day where the world celebrates the World Environment Day. I would first of all to thank the President of the International Human Rights Commission, Dr. Muhammad Admit Shahid Khan, for the confidence placed in me in modesty by appointing me a few weeks ago as ambassador of the International Human Rights Commission in Cameroon. I know by the grace of God to be up to this mic of confidence. In the process, I salute the President Joe Biden for his noble decision taken of the first day of his mandate, announcing the return of United States of America to the Paris Agreement. On April 22, he organized a climate summit, inviting the world leaders to take up the challenge of climate crisis at a time of danger and extraordinary opportunity of the urgency to focus on the existential threat, climate change. Because no nation can solve this crisis in its own. The world is on a red alert and on the brink of collapse as we need a green planet. The solution to these are known. Among other things, to create a global coalition committed to the goal of net zero emission by 250. And to initiate his transformation now, I am thinking of the main polluter and destroyer of ecosystem. The biggest challenge now is to translate climate commitment into concrete and immediate action. It must be recognized that the trillions needed for post-COVID recovery are money borrowed from future generations that lead us to a catastrophic scenario of a mountain of debt on a shattered planet. We must therefore invest massively in the new renewable energy and green infrastructure, and the need for breakthrough in financing and adaptation. I'm convinced that the COP26, which will be held in a few months at Glasgow, will be able to make concrete proposals to facilitate access to financing and greater technological support for vulnerable countries. It is deplorable that our planet has reached a critical threshold due to an ill considered plundering of the Earth resources. The reserve of flora and fauna are depleted, and treating the air, lands, and seas, and landfill, destroying ecosystem and therefore food chain. We must end the war on nature and work to restore it through bold and resolute climate action to limit the global temperature rise to the 1.5 necessary for adaptation to future changes and the taking of energy measures. On the protection of biodiversity while reducing pollution. This will preserve our planet, create millions of jobs, and be the part to recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, and we will then make peace with nature and these laws. It is about being able to reiterate here my commitment to this cause, our cause, the fight against global warming. Indeed, it will not only be necessary to try to contain, to limit the climatic phenomena linked to human activities, but to try to revise indeed the paradigms of our common life on this planet. And for that, we must forge ideas, concepts, rules, which do away with what today overwhelms us, overwhelms us at least as much as climate change, cynicism, pessimism, passivity. I have always added my voice to the creation of a global pact for the environment. It's about choosing the rule of our present and our common future rather than undergoing the rule of climate change that we have. Never mind. This is the heart of the struggle of our autonomy. It is the heart of our common freedom. The project of a global climate pact is a challenge launched to humanity as before. Yeah, the fight for civil rights or for social or cultural rights, but the challenge here is even greater. It is not only for the dignity of the man in question, but of his survival. And we all know that the changing climate already today represents hopeless lives, hundreds of thousands of deaths, millions according to some calculation linked to global warming, to air pollution. And if it were not to be slowed down, this evolution will cause the disappearance of some entire territories. Water wars, mass exodus, millions of men and women, children all over the planet whose lives will be turned upside down, whose lives will be shattered, whose deaths are already certain today. No one today can worldly claim to fight effectively against terrorism for world peace by not tackling the war of global warming. No one can measure the consequences of such a catastrophe today, but today we only know that it is here and that tomorrow it will be even more terrible if nothing is done. My country, Cameroon, has become aware of this and is planning strong ambition in accordance with the environmental charter with constitutional value, projection on the energy transition and or even biodiversity. I should be recalled here that Cameroon had ratified the Paris Agreement on the COP21, like several other countries, among which the most polluters. It is one thing to sign the text, but politicians must now make them reality, and we are not there yet. There is a lot to do to lead to transform, to comply with the requirement of the Paris Agreement. An economic incentive policy and simplification of procedure must be put in place because the potential of the ecological transition must be released, which must be accompanied by strong political will relay all states. It is also about initiating action to translate that translates into concrete results to improve the daily lives of the population of the planet, provide employment and economic opportunities. These bring together all action in favor of clean mobility. The reduction of emissions from various types of waste, the development of collaborative and solidarity-based local economy, and the awareness and information of citizens on the impact of their behavior. It is not a question of choosing between environment and employment, between ecology and growth. There are the debate of yesterday. We must reorganize, transform, change behavior, invest, and do it with determination. To do this, we must decarbonize energy production, support the development of green finance, offer favorable conditions to researchers and entrepreneurs around the world who provide solutions for the climate, and mobilize the public and private funding. The alert has been launched to integrate climate issues into international trade and into our production method. But we must also work to preserve the balance of the ocean, improve the use of forests, and preserve biodiversity essential for the functioning of our ecosystem.
Sir, we would like to request you to make it short.
Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you, Mr. President. May God bless us. May He bless our planet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your speech. And we would like to